As of the past couple of weeks, we've been talking a little bit about the rarest items within Call of Duty, whether that be rare camos, rare in-game digital items, or actual collectible things. We've been talking about that in a few recent videos, and so today I wanted to continue that on because, like we mentioned in the last video, I had so much stuff to talk about of items you may never have known existed, of items that were maybe incredibly rare and you never got your hands on, or something of the like. So today we're going to be continuing that sort of theme and process of discussing each of these items and giving you guys some information and background on some of these rare or exclusive items throughout COD history. So these are in no particular order. Of course, we've kind of broken down some of the rarest of the rare in previous videos, but to kind of just continue it on, none of these are really in any specific order. They're all rare in their own right and have some things that are really tough about them to obtain them or that were very limited time. So in that sense, each is kind of their own unique situation. That said, let's just jump right into it. Starting us off at number one, I want to talk about one that is my personal favorite, I think, out of almost any of the things we've talked about thus far. And if you're one for collectible items in Call of Duty, this is probably up there for that top spot for you even as well. This being the Juggernog mini fridge from Call of Duty Black Ops 3. So for those of you guys that do know about this, of course, this was a Juggernog edition, something that was the top tier collector's edition for Black Ops 3, and very few of them were sold. I remember the day that they released, Amazon sold out within a few minutes, and then a couple of days later there were a restock of that, to which I actually got fortunate enough to actually grab one, and still to this day, it's probably one of my favorite things that I've ever had for Call of Duty, that is. Still getting some use out of it even almost 3 years later as well, keeping my drinks nice and cool at my setup. But regardless, this was something that the edition itself was $200, but you didn't just get the Juggernog mini fridge here at this. You also got a steelbook case, the season pass, the giant zombies map, limited edition art cards, a few camos, some Coca-Cola coasters, and some things also thrown in the mix digitally. So there was a lot that went along with this, but the mini fridge itself, I think, is probably the most practical collector's edition item that I've ever ended up getting for either any game or anything outside of gaming even, because it is just something that I can use on a daily basis, but with it being so limited to a few hundred, maybe a few thousand at the most, these went like hotcakes and had very limited chance of restock, to which your best bet of getting one now is probably for a decent upcharge on eBay or a third-party seller on Amazon or something like that, to which you still run the risk then of it being a used one that may not work as well as a brand new one. So in that sense, this is one for the ages, very limited edition, very exclusive, and not many after the initial restocks were really ever out there. So perhaps you have a piece of history, but regardless, we're gonna move on to number two here up on this list. We're gonna go back in time to something that isn't as grand a scale as a Juggernog edition, but dealing with Black Ops 2. When you ended up getting the Hardened Edition or the Care Package edition of Black Ops 2, you ended up getting a couple of things. One we'll actually talk about later on in this video as well, but one being the Nuketown Zombies calling card, to which, again, as with a lot of other things, calling cards might not be everybody's cup of tea, but they are certainly some things that do have a decent history of items that are relatively rare, because there's surprisingly a lot of calling cards, a lot of emblems or camos like that you may never really even realize. Well, that was a very specific run of that very few people have. So this one, the Nuketown Zombies calling card, of course, denotes the Nuketown Zombies bonus map for Black Ops 2, and it was one that only was available within the Hardened and the Care Package edition. For something that small, of course, it might not be the main catalyst or reason why you end up getting the Hardened edition or the Care Package edition back in the day. Of course, maybe one of that awesome care packages to store some stuff in, or whatever your reasoning may be, but it probably wasn't the main reason you got this. But it was a nice little addition that, with there once again being limited runs of each of those, you wouldn't see them as often as some of the other items in game. But that said, moving on to the third item of the list, we're going to talk about this one because it's the rarest by definition, but maybe not by acquisition. I say that in the sense that a lot of you probably have this if you've been around, and if you end up playing the game in its prime especially, but by definition, it's technically one of the rarest items in COD history. That being the 10th Prestige spinning emblem in Modern Warfare 2. Now this was only obtainable via mods, and again, if you guys have been around since the prime of Modern Warfare 2, you know just how rampant modding was in the community back in the day, and it was not hard to come across a 10th Prestige or an XP or an unlock all lobby, so you might have this just by simply playing the game. but by definition, the files for this were in the game but never actually were public challenges. The leading theories for how this was going to be put in the game and how you'd actually be able to organically earn this are: one, that it was an unimplemented version of the AK-47 Veteran 4 challenge for 1,000 headshots with that weapon, two, being that it was an Infinity Ward employee-only item, just like how we've seen previously in different years of 3-ARC, SHG, and IW clan tags being only accessible by the development team, or number three, by completing all prestige challenges. Regardless of whatever they ended up planning on making this, it was never actually implemented. So even for things like if you were to try and go and complete all the prestige challenges, you wouldn't ever actually get it. Of course, Infinity Ward employees probably had access to it at some point, and that would make sense since they made the game, they can adjust their accounts accordingly. And the unimplemented AK-47 Veteran 4 challenge, which of course was never actually in the game. So all of these ways, they never actually rewarded you because they either didn't exist or they just weren't actually tied to it. But regardless, this was only available via modding, and that's how a lot of people ended up having it. So by acquisition, once again, there's probably a ton of people that do have this, myself included. So simply by how many people have it, it may not necessarily be rare, but by the actual organic way to get it, that's what theoretically would make it rare. So kind of an asterisk on that one, but one I want to throw in because I always am fascinated by this, that it was never actually available to us as players, but so many of us actually have it. So that said, that's gonna move us over into the next one here with this. And this is one that we've mentioned already before, so I'll keep this one short. I just wanted to kind of encompass it into the overall rarest items in COD because we talked about it as a camo, but not as one of the rarest items, but statistically it is one of the rare items ever released in COD. That being the Spectrum camo from Call of Duty Ghosts. Now a quick rundown for those of you guys that did not see the camo video. This was only available via 5,000 codes worldwide, and that was a split between Xbox 360 and Xbox One users only. So that said, this was available by purchasing on the Microsoft Store, pre-ordering there. You could end up doing a sort of training module via a website called Expert Zone, which is where retailers like GameStop do their specific certification modules like that. Of those 5,000 codes that were available, they split those in half so that 2,500 were available on Xbox 360 and 2,500 were available on Xbox One. So just by sheer numbers and the amount out there in the world, it's rarer than almost any other digital item in Call of Duty history. And of course, I know that some people in that video mentioned that it was obtainable via modding, so there is that, but if you're going just by the amounts available out there, definitely one of the rare items in COD history. Next up, we're gonna go back a year in history. We're gonna go back to Black Ops 2, and this is one that was, again, that Hardened Edition or Care Package Edition exclusive with this, and that being the CE Digital Camo for Black Ops 2. Now, unfortunately, unlike a lot of the other exclusive camos and other items like this, it's nothing too flashy, nothing too out there or too zany, or really anything that catches your eye and makes you go, man, I really need that if I'm a hardcore fan. This is just pretty much a black, gray, and purple digital camo, very similar to other variations of digital camos that we've seen in the past. So while this is of course an awesome looking camo, to me, I don't know if again it would be that catalyst for getting the Hardened or the Care Package Edition back in the day with Black Ops 2. While a rare calling card and a rare camo are absolutely awesome for those reasons to end up getting something, I don't know if they'd live up to being the only reason that I'd end up looking for one of those editions. But that said, the CE Digital Camo was never available anywhere else, at least to my knowledge, and so outside of the Hardened Edition and the Care Package Edition itself, you're not going to be able to find it pretty much anywhere. So in that sense, sheer number-wise, it's very limited compared to other things that we've seen and other editions that we've also seen give digital items or something like that, but for that, it's going to take the second to last item on the list. But that said, closing us out, we're gonna jump actually up to the current times, because while it might not be the most exclusive item just by what you have to pay for or a super limited edition variation of a game or anything like that, it is one that not many people will really ever complete, and so in that sense, the number of players that you'll encounter running this may not exceed any astronomical amount, that being the Call of Duty World War II Überschnall weapon charm that is awarded for completing all Easter eggs, so a sort of super Easter egg reward in World War II. So again, just by simply numbers of players you'll encounter with this, there's nothing that you have to really do outside of just completing the game and the Easter eggs with this. The number of players you'll encounter with this is probably relatively low, especially compared to a lot of other items in World War II in particular. But this one, it stems all the way back to the final Reich. You have to complete the Easter egg on hardcore mode for that, and then complete all the Easter eggs up until the final chapter, that being the Frozen Dawn. Once you do all of that, this will unlock here for you, and you'll be able to equip the very cool looking Überschnell weapon charm on any weapon in multiplayer or in zombies. So in that sense, if you guys like some extra customization and you like zombies and multiplayer in World War II, well, this is definitely for you then, and I'd suggest going for it. But that said, that is where we're gonna wrap up this video here at this one. Again, wanted to kind of just finish out a little bit of the list that I had earlier. If you guys have anything you guys want to add, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. We can maybe do one other follow-up video here at this one, but still a lot of cool things to talk about on deck with rare items and other variations of this that if you guys want to see some stuff, I'll definitely be willing to make it here for you guys. So that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Anything you'd like to add to the list, anything you'd like to see in particular, whatever it may be, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But that said, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below. If you guys are new to the channel, want to stay up to date with all things rare COD items like this, COD history stuff, or anything relating to currently Call of Duty World War II or Black Ops 4, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding any of that. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. And also, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram as well, a little more active over there, so that link is also in the description for you guys to check out. But all that said and out of the way, hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.